So I get the steamer and I'm a little worried, like after the blow dryer situation, I plug it in and I swear to you, I could see the electricity go zzz, like down the line. I swear the cord illuminated and then the steamer goes pop and the outlet goes pop and then all of the outlets were dead. So I don't know if you've seen that with Ashton Kutcher and what's her name, and she plugs things in and totally
she plugs her dildo into the wall.
Yeah, and totally kills the power for the entire building.
Hey there. Welcome to Parties to Playdates. I'm Kendall.
And I'm Jess. We're here to fill your day with warmth and laughter.
Join us as we navigate the chaos and joy of everyday life.
We're all about sharing real-life moments with a dash of humor and practical tips.
So grab your coffee and settle in for a cozy chat.
Because here, every moment is a story worth sharing.
No topic is off limit.
And every listener is a friend.
Let's get this party started. Hello, hello. Welcome back.
Hello. Good morning.
Welcome to the new studio.
I know. Welcome to Kendall's new back porch.
Woo!
I don't know. This is somebody's house back here. Mm-hmm. Shout out to the new neighbors.
Yeah. I'm trying to meet everybody.
For the nice backdrop. I love it.
Yes. And our sweet little palms.
It's so funny.
Very Florida.
It really is.
Like, I feel like you can't get more Florida than this.
So, Kendall, what did they say or do this week?
Of course, it's another Naked Mav story, which I just love.
A naked one. Nice.
Naked one. He's so funny. So we just moved into this house, and he's been, like, just running everywhere. Because at this point, we had no gates for him anywhere. Nothing's, like, child-proof. He's just, like, full run of the house. He could do whatever he wants. So we made his, like, little kid area. We call it his lounge.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, we call it Mav's lounge because he has his own TV, a couch, and he literally just, like, lays on his couch while he, like, eats his snacks and watches whatever. And then he'll get up and go play down the slide and do whatever. And so he was in there occupied while I was in the kitchen trying to unbox things. And I left him in there with clothes on and a diaper. Yeah. And I was over in the kitchen, which isn't far, and I can hear him doing stuff. And then I forgot he was around, to be honest, because he was really quiet. And I was doing something, and I was on my phone, and I turn around because I hear his, like, little feet running through the kitchen. He's butt-ass naked, fully naked, runs right by me. And he's laughing because he loves when he's naked. He thinks it's, like, the funniest thing. I was like, oh, my God. I was like, where's your clothes? And first off, where's your diaper? He runs right past me, grabs the towel, like a kitchen towel, and starts wiping his wiener and his butt. And I was like, oh, my God. I was like, hold on. He's wiping his ass. And I was like, oh, my God. First off, his little butt cheeks were so tight together, I couldn't see poop. So I was like, maybe he just took his diaper off and he thinks it's funny wiping his butt.
Yeah.
And then I went, like, I grabbed him, took him, grabbed, like, wipes because they're all over the place. And I, like, lift his leg up and there's just shit all through his butt crack. Like, oh, my God. And I was like, oh, my God, I don't want to see where his diaper is.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, no. I don't know how he did it. It's perfectly placed in the middle of the rug, literally closed.
Oh.
No poop anywhere. I don't know how he did it.
Oh, wow.
I have no idea. He just ripped it off, closed it up, and ran.
That's impressive. It turned into, like, Mav's spring break lounge.
It was during spring break.
He was like, let's get naked.
He's like, I know what they do on 30A over here for spring break. Let's get nudie.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
Well, that's a good ending.
It was a good ending. So I was like, oh, my God. I know. Like, there's probably poop on the walls.
Oh, gosh. Just Chris in the new house.
I loved it. I was like, well, at least he was smart. He knew he had to wipe.
Yeah, that is smart.
That was cool. I was like, are you trying to tell me you're ready to, like, try a potty and wipe your butt? I don't know.
He's like, can we just get this out of here? Like, this is not okay. Why are you guys doing this to me?
Yeah. What about you?
Well, this funny story. I was at work yesterday. I'm working part-time at the purse store. And so we stand around a lot because, you know, you can only do so much with purses. You just are adjusting things. But there's this section that has wallets in it, and people are always looking at the wallets, and they want to try them out, like, in their current purse. And so people will look really, like, they'll be
sketchy.
Like looking around really weird, and you'll be like, hey, can I help you? Do you need help? And they'll be like, can I just put this in my bag? I'm not stealing it, but whatever. So people are always asking us, but yesterday there was the most adorable older couple in there shopping, and the lady was looking at wallets, and her husband was just nicely standing by, waiting for her to make her decision, like most husbands are. And she says to one of the other employees, she's like, is it okay if I put this in to try this out in my purse? I just want to see if it fits. And she's like, oh yeah, go ahead. People do it all the time. She's like, I just didn't want you guys to think I'm stealing things. And I was like, I came around the corner and I was like, I thought you were stealing something. I said, I was about to tackle you, so you're lucky you asked. And her husband, I swear, he like choked on a spit and was like, and I was like, and he thought it was so funny. Then it completely escalated out of control, and she started making jokes about maybe you should have jumped on me. I probably like it. Her husband started nodding in agreement. They were so funny, and I was cracking up. And then as she like pulls out, she's like, I'm pulling it out. I'm putting it back. It's not getting stolen. And then she bought it. And she's like, okay, I have the receipt in the bag. And she's like, honey, hold my bag. She made a whole show of it. And she was so funny. And I freaking loved her. And I was like, these are the type of people that are my favorite people. And they totally just ran with the whole joke the whole rest of the time. And it was so funny.
I love that.
But they were so cute. They'd been married for 40-something years.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
They were the cutest. They were the cutest little couple. I was like, I want to be like them.
Yeah, we were halfway there.
I am halfway there. Just 20 more, guys. Whew. It's a long way.
20 years is a long time.
Yeah.
It is a long time. Well, Jess, welcome back to U.S. soil.
Thank you. It's really good to be back, guys.
Is it?
I really love the United States.
Really? Well, I can't wait to hear all of your experience, why you're saying that and all the things.
I really do. So, yeah, I'm just going to let you ask me questions.
Sure, yeah.
And what you want to hear.
Yeah. Okay, so she flew first class all the way to Italy. I think it was like 4 flights.
Yeah, it was 4. So we went here to Atlanta, to JFK, to Boston, to Rome.
Yes.
Yes.
So she was living her best life all the way over there.
I was. On the flight over, they gave us like a full meal, and it was so funny because I was excited. I've never flown in such a nice seat before in my life. Mm-hmm. I'm like, all those Sky Miles I've been saving up for 5 years finally paid off for a nice upgrade. Mm-hmm. But it was so funny because me and Andrew, they're almost cubicles, and so he's like on his other side of his little wall, and I was eating my food, and he was looking at me, and we were talking about the food or something, and I went to cut something, and I put my pinky up, and I think we both had headphones on, like watching movies or whatever, so we were just having a nonverbal conversation, but I put my pinky up, and he just shook his head like, you're so ridiculous, and I was like, we're in first class.
Yes, honey.
This is required. He was like, put your finger down.
And then you should put both up.
But every time, so whenever I would catch his eye, I'd be like, ding, and I would like pop it up with my fork, with anything. It didn't matter what it was. My little plastic glass or whatever.
Drinking your Jack and Coke.
I know. So many Jack and Cokes. But
I want to know, so you've never been to Europe?
I have.
Oh, no,
I've been to the UK, like to UK. London. Mm-hmm.
So this is something totally different, I feel like, because I feel like it's a total different vibe than London. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. We arrived in Rome really early in the morning, and we had set up a driver previously. And so he was driving, and it was really interesting driving through Rome, like on the outskirts of city. It's just a lot of like very sad looking buildings.
Really?
And so buildings are kind of run down, and there was graffiti everywhere.
Yeah. Which
really surprised me because I'm like, man, these cities are known for really like historically preserving a lot of things, but then they're like allowing so much graffiti all over everything.
That actually does surprise me too.
Yeah.
Now that you say that, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it was very interesting. So that part was a little bit surprising, but it was really funny because the first Airbnb we got to, and
were you guys well rested, like ready to go for the day?
We were pretty worn out, but we had a plan to go to the Airbnb for a few hours and then go do something for the rest of the day. The Airbnb we went to, all these buildings are super old and super tiny, and me and Andrew are big people. We're broad, we're tall, we take up space kind of thing. And Italy is not made for big, tall people. So at the first Airbnb, in the notes, it said that there was an elevator that you could take up to the 4th floor and then walk down the stairs to the 3rd floor to get into the Airbnb. So we got into the elevator, and I kid you not, it was probably like 3 feet by 2 feet wide. It was like a closet. And me and Andrew were trying to stuff all of our bags in it, and we're like on top of the bags, and we're like, I swear we were like pressed up against each other and against the walls. And then we're pushing the button, and the elevator's like,
No.
and I was like, oh my gosh, should we just exceed the weight limit with 2 of us kind of thing? And then all of a sudden I was like, and I was like, and Andrew is looking at me, not okay. Because
I wouldn't be okay either.
He's all about security. And it was weird because it was the morning, so there's not a lot of people around. It feels sketchy a little bit because you can't get a read on the environment great. And so he's like on full security. We just drove through what looked like a shady part of town covered in graffiti. And then we get stuffed in this tiny little elevator. And he doesn't want to send me up by myself because that would be not a good security choice. You know what I mean? I couldn't find the right door or the right code.
Oh, no.
Or how to open it the right way. And the locks are weird. And so I ended up having to go back down the elevator, outside, walk down the street, across a bridge.
Oh my God.
To get like a Wi-Fi connection, because we both couldn't go because we had huge bags because we were staying for 2 weeks, and the streets are cobblestone. And I don't know if you've ever tried to pull a piece of luggage down a cobblestone street, but it is not fun at all. It was like, and so Andrew's like, I'll just stay here. I'm like, I'll share my location. I'll keep you updated. So I went and got a better connection, finally found the information. We went back, got in, everything was fine. And then we took a nice nap. And then we got up to get ready for dinner that night. And I was going to wear like this cute, like metallic, sparkly dress. And it was kind of wrinkly. So Andrew had gone in the bathroom and plugged in his blow dryer. And I could hit it smelled hot. And he was like, dang, he's like, this blow dryer is getting hot with this plug. Like we had adapters and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so I get the steamer, and I'm a little worried, like, after the blow dryer situation, I plug it in, and I swear to you, I could see the electricity go, zzz, like, down the line. I swear the cord illuminated, and then the steamer goes, pop, and the outlet goes, pop, and then all of the outlets were dead. So I don't know if you've seen that with Ashton Kutcher and what's her name, and she plugs things in and totally
she plugs her dildo into the wall.
Yeah, and totally kills the power for the entire building. And then I was like, Andrew's like, Jess, and I was like, what? He was like, you shouldn't have plugged it in that one, because I plugged it in one that was like in the kitchen, and there was like multiple ones in a row, and I thought kitchens usually have like GFCIs, like this seems like a safer option, and so that's why I plugged it into that one. Well, then the second it pops and I unplug it.
Oh my God.
I look at the steamer, and in a label that's probably 4 inches by 3 inches wide, in red, a red label with big white letters, it says, do not use with an adapter. It will destroy this appliance. So I don't know. I think Europe is like 220 volt or something, but the US is like 120 volt for most outlets. And it was like 120 only. Do not use an adapter. And I was like,
you're like, rip this label off, throw it away before Andrew sees it.
I was like, my bad.
So wait, did it come back on, or what happened?
No, I had to message the Airbnb people and was like, hey, we were using this. I left out some key information, but I was like, we were using an outlet, and then they stopped working. Kind of thing.
Now none of them work.
Now they don't work. But what was nice is the light still worked.
Okay, good.
But the hot water didn't work.
Oh, no.
So, but Andrew had already showered, thank God. And I wasn't going to shower for days, so it was fine. I wasn't going to wash my hair for days. So we just left it. And then it wasn't until the next morning that the electrician guy could come and fix it. We weren't there for that. I was like, we got to get out of here.
That's hilarious. Yeah, go to a cafe and charge.
So, but thankfully, the guy was like, "Oh, it was just the appliance that whatever you had plugged into it caused a problem that probably just ruined that." And I was like, "Yeah, it did."
Does not work anymore. R.I.P.
100%. I need a new steamer now.
You will be wearing wrinkles for the rest of the trip.
Yeah, and then I was like, "Oh my god, what are we going to do?" Because we had like fancy dinner plans, and Andrew has like button-down shirts and stuff that he wants to wear, and we have nothing to do with.
Well, I'm like the biggest loser. Ryan knows how to use a steamer. I didn't even know what a steamer was until I met Ryan.
Yeah.
And then honestly, whatever I've done or I've always done is just hang whatever I need in the shower or like by the shower while I shower. Just make sure it's really hot and just like hope
the humidity. I know.
Or throw it in the dryer.
I've used blow dryers before, but then I was skeptical about using the blow dryer because it got really hot and was like Andrew said it was the like coils inside were literally illuminated like crazy. He's like, I'm just going to use it in short bursts. I was like, okay. Okay, this is going to be great.
That's so funny.
So yeah, that was the start to our trip.
Brittany Murphy and Ashton Kutcher.
Yes.
That's what it was. I love Brittany Murphy.
Yeah, she's so funny.
Oh, R.I.P.
Hilarious.
Such a good movie. I love that movie. I actually use lines from it all the time, especially the one, do you want to get drunk and make out? When they're like in the car and that's where they're staying for the night and there's like a little mini split of champagne. Oh, yeah. She's like, do you want to get drunk and make out?
Isn't that the one where he says, I wish I had the Dodge right now.
Yeah, I really, you could use a Dodge.
Could really use the Dodge about now. I use that line.
Yes, and I always use, oh, do you need a big truck to make you happy? I use that one whenever we're in Ryan's truck. I love that movie. So good, but that is so funny that happened to you.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry. Okay, so after that was Rome. What was your most favorite thing about Rome? Did you guys cook at all, or I know you went to a cooking class. Did you guys eat out all the time?
We didn't cook it in Rome at all. We just ate out a lot.
How fun!
I'm gonna say most of my diet in Italy was burrata, caprese salads. Oof. It was pretty much cheese, tomatoes,
living your best life,
and then throwing some pasta in there. Obviously, a lot of coffee, all the wine, so much wine. I'm not even a big wine drinker, but all of it was so good that we would just be like, we'll take a white, or we'd be like, give us one that's local, and they would just give us amazing wine, and we kept drinking all the different wines.
I'm so jealous.
So it was very, very good.
What was your favorite thing in Rome?
I think my favorite thing in Rome was all of the statues.
Oh yeah,
that are literally everywhere. Like they are.
That's a bird.
Oh.
We didn't know what it was at first.
It sounds like a dog.
It does, but it's a bird, and I swear it lives in our tree. I don't know where it is.
It's like a Pomeranian bird. I think the biggest thing was all the statues. There's tons of statues and sculptures everywhere. All of it, on the sides of buildings, on the corners of buildings, on the tops of buildings, on bridges, big, small, like it's all in there, beautiful and intricate, and it's all just amazing art just all over the place. And then the buildings there are really beautiful.
That's awesome.
So that was probably my favorite part in Rome.
Yeah, that's great. What was Andrew's diet? You said yours was more like cheesy.
Andrew did a lot of pasta. But in Rome, I feel like we just did a lot of pasta. We did, the other fun thing we did in Rome was we went to this place called Gregory's Jazz Club.
Ooh, how fun.
That was this tiny, intimate little, maybe like 40 top jazz club. It was in the upstairs. So they had a really cool bar downstairs that was distilling their own essential oils for their cocktails and stuff, which was very impressive. I ordered espresso martini, and the guy's like, let us do our espresso martini for you. And I was like, okay. And then he hands it to me. It looks like a lemonade. And I was like,
what the heck is this?
He was like, we take the vodka and mix it with the espresso, and then they like distill it down and filter it so it has the coffee flavor, but it doesn't have the coffee color. And then it had some other wildflower, I don't know, it had some other random stuff in it. It was weird because it tasted like coffee, but it tasted like other things. And it was this whole like journey that was so interesting and different. It was very bougie.
Yeah.
The types of drinks they had and all their tinctures and also it was like the craziest bar I've ever seen. So that was the downstairs. And then upstairs was this cute little kind of tiered seating, and then they had a grand piano So we made a reservation. They do 2 shows a night. So we made a reservation for the first show. There was 2 ladies. One did the saxophone. She has 2 different types of saxophone. And then the other did the piano. And then they both sang.
Oh my gosh, how cool.
The shows were like 2 hours. So they sang and did their thing for 2 hours. Oh, and also this place, we were sitting there and I was like, isn't this funny? We're in Rome, but at a jazz club and they're serving sushi.
Oh my gosh, how random.
Because that was their menu, is sushi and Japanese
good?
food. It was very good. So we watched them and then they said, oh, there's another show coming on after. And Andrew's, oh, what's that one? And they're like, oh, it's a 5-piece. There's trumpets. And blah. He's, well, that's jazz. And so he's like, can we stay for that? And they're like, no, the seats are full. They're like, you can wait. And if somebody doesn't show up, like, we put you in. So we waited, had some more fancy cocktails. And then we were able to sneak in on the second show. So the
That's
second
awesome.
show had this drummer, upright bass, 2 trumpets, and a piano. Towards the end, they brought in an extra friend that was on the saxophone. So, but they just did, none of them sang. They just did
Straight
like
up.
straight jazz all night long. And it was
That's
so
so
funny
cool.
because in high school, I played the drums. And so I have a deep appreciation for anybody who's good at it. But this guy was probably in his, I'd say he was probably in his late 60s, but you could tell like this was his life and he loved what he was doing and he was so good. And I was like, in the breaks and stuff, I feel like, man, I was like, that guy is amazing. And Andrew's like, do you have a crush on the old drummer? And I was like,
I'm a groupie.
I'm going to be honest. If I had a choice, I would probably pick that guy because he's kind of amazing. Like he's super happy with what he's doing and he's really good at his job kind of thing. So that was really fun. I don't know if I've ever heard jazz live like that, but it was so cool and such a fun vibe. And it was a beautiful night. And the Uber driver that picked us up that night had the nicest Uber I've ever been in.
Ooh.
It smelled like heaven.
Ooh.
It smelled like a handsome man,
Like-
fragrant cologne. It was this black, like BMW or something, full on black interior, black outside.
Oh, wow.
The driver was wearing the nicest, probably custom fitted suit I've ever seen. It was,
And this was an Uber driver?
this was the Uber driver. And this wasn't even Uber, the fancy, whatever they call the fancy one.
I have no idea.
This was just the baseline. This was just normal Uber to get you to your thing. But there was not a speck of crumb on the floor. There wasn't a fingerprint on the
Wow.
door. And you know what's interesting is all of the Ubers we got in were extremely clean and smelled very nice. I was very impressed by the Uber quality in Italy.
Wow.
It was very interesting. But that guy was next level.
Yeah.
I was like,
That,
I feel like we have a private driver.
I was just going to say that. It sounds like you like hired this man for like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we paid him $22 to take us across town to dinner.
That's amazing.
In his really nice BMW.
I would have just been like, can you just stick with us till we leave?
I know. I was like, what are you doing on Thursday morning? Well, we have to go to the train station.
Yeah. So yes,
So-
so the next thing is you go on the train station and you go south.
Then we go south, which
Oh, no way.
everybody was like, ride the train. It'll be great. And
Oh, no.
the view was delightful.
How long did it take you?
It was 8.5 hours.
Could you move around?
You could get up and walk around. The seats were very uncomfortable, very straight up, very not very deep.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're big people with long legs, so you couldn't really like
Stretch out.
scrunch down because your butt would fall off the end of the seat. So, and we had made the poor choice of staying up until 3:00 in the morning the night before.
Doesn't surprise me.
And so, but we're like, oh, we'll just sleep on the train. And then we got on the train and the seats don't recline. And they're very uncomfortable. And we had 3 hours of sleep maybe.
Oh, gosh.
Because the train left at 7:30 in the morning. And part of the train ride, Andrew sat in the floor of
Stop.
the train and laid on the seat. Or like one point he just laid completely, like there was quite a bit of room in between us and the seat in front of us, which was nice. But at one point he was just like curled up in like a fetal position on the floor of the train. It was really sad.
Was it booked?
It wasn't. It was pretty empty. And the other problem was at the train station, we grabbed a sandwich and a coffee and 1 bottle of water. And then we got on the train and Andrew's, I'll grab another sandwich so we can have it on the train. I was like, oh no, they'll probably have stuff on the train. And then we got on the
They
train.
didn't have a bar cart.
Not that we were aware of. And so we were so thirsty.
Oh my God.
And we were so hungry, like 6 hours in.
Oh my God, that's not okay.
I know, 6 or 7 hours in maybe. Andrew's like, I was like, babe, maybe, like I Googled it, like, do trains in Italy have sandwiches? Like, I was like, is there food? We're so hungry. So we literally spent 20 minutes, I kid you not, going back and forth, being like, he'd be like, yeah, why don't you go look and see? And I was like, I can't, it's too dangerous. I'm a woman alone. And he'd be like, I don't feel like getting up. So we like put it off, but we were both like starving and thirsty. But it took us like 20 minutes for Andrew to finally be like, I'm going. And I was like, great. So he leaves for a long time. And then he comes back and he's like, get your stuff. And I was like, what? And he's like, we're getting off the train. And I was like, what?
We're getting off?
Well, what happened is in the time that he was gone, he did find a little vending machine on the train. But the guy that was nearby was like, oh, he's like, we're about to get on the boat. So there's a cafe on the boat. And I was like, boat?
You're like, my train's on a boat?
What boat? And so in the time that Andrew had left, they had got to the end of Italy. And there's a strip of water that's in between Italy and Sicily. And so they literally drove the entire train onto this ferry or whatever, 2 trains. So there was like 10 cars in there total. Oh my God. Onto the thing, and you could feel it, like the train started going like more watery movements. So you're like, get your stuff. So we got off the train, and inside the ferry there's an upstairs that had a cafe and food and coffee and all that kind of stuff. So
You're
we
like,
finally
it's saving me.
Like, we were so excited. So stupid.
Civilization.
I was like, yes, we have water and food and more coffee. So yeah, the view was beautiful. It like went along the coastline. I kind of wish we had been more awake because we would have seen a lot more beautiful scenery or whatever. But yeah, so that took us all the way to Taormina.
And what were your thoughts about Taormina?
Taormina is beautiful. It's so the train stops here, and to get to like the city of Taormina, you literally have to drive up, I don't know, 15, 20 switchbacks all up the side of this mountain. And that drive alone was just like, oh my gosh.
Stunning.
The volcanoes in the distance and the water and the
So
coastal
pretty.
and all these beautiful buildings. And what's interesting to me is a lot of coastal places here, it's a lot of sand and there's trees, but they're a little more sparse. I feel like there it was like full on forests almost up to the coastlines. And so the trees and everything were just different. It was an interesting mix of like forest and beach and mountains and all that kind of in one, which I thought was really beautiful. And then the city's just on the top of a mountain, so
Wow.
like it's gorgeous views. Like whenever the big buildings are out of the way, it's just in every direction. I feel like there's parts of Taormina where you could see almost like 360.
That's so cool.
Because it's so high. But same beautiful architecture, really just gorgeous, a little more quaint Italian kind of vibe to it, I feel like.
Yeah.
But
was the food similar?
the food was similar. The food was something we kind of struggled with, to be honest.
Really?
I think this is the biggest thing. We are extreme meat eaters. And a lot of the food options in Italy are very limited on meat. Like they weren't doing a lot of chicken, they weren't doing a lot of beef, a lot of fish. Most of the meat that are in most of their dishes is in small amounts, like small amounts of prosciutto or small amounts of ham or small amounts of this and that. And we're such crazy meat eaters that our meals are like usually 50% meat and then side dishes.
Yeah.
But there it was like all the pasta with a sprinkling of protein. So I feel like we struggled because our bodies were like, where is our protein?
Where's the meat?
And that's why I think I ate so much cheese, is because my body was like, there's some, get that one. And I love cheese.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Come on, guys.
You are
It's
a
like,
cheese connoisseur.
I am a cheese connoisseur. So that was interesting because the food wasn't bad. Like there was some good stuff that we ate. Most of the restaurants served very similar dishes, very similar flavors. And I think we just realized we're pretty adventurous when it comes to food, and we have a wide variety of foods that we eat on a regular basis. And there just really isn't that option. Like they don't have Mexican restaurants and Indian restaurants and Tex-Mex and Cajun and all these things. And we also realized a lot of their flavors are very mild and very,
Like less seasoning?
yes, like a lot less seasoning, not super strong, like bold flavors, just very simple ingredients, simple flavors. You can tell stuff is fresh and you can tell stuff is homemade, but the flavors were just very mild. So yeah, the food was a little different than I thought it would be. And it actually made me really appreciative of where we live because there's so many amazing restaurants here and such a huge variety that it made me really appreciate all of the choices and options that we have. And just the availability of ingredients to make those things at home.
Oh, totally.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, did you guys shop at all or like go like to the markets or how was
we
that
did.
experience?
We went to a market, which is everything. People always say, oh, everything in the United States is so big. They're right. Our roads are way bigger. That was another thing that was how close these people get to other cars.
It's crazy.
Millimeters. I am not
And they're just
exaggerating.
like honking.
They're not even honking
Oh,
half the time.
really?
They don't honk because you're in the way. They honk to be like, here I am.
Yeah.
Deet, deet. Like, this is my part of the road because there's lines on the road, but they're not even staying in the lines. They're just drifting wherever they want to go. And I'm like, oh my God, is there rules here? And they would, if there was an open stretch, they would floor it. And then they would, and then, and like, it was, and Andrew's a pretty aggressive driver and they made him like friggin' Miss Daisy. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how they're driving. And it was funny because we had a conversation with this server one day and we were talking about different things and Andrew said something about stay in your lane and he's like, do you understand that phrase? And I was like, they do not understand that phrase.
They're never in their lane.
I said, they don't stay in their lane here. And the Italian guy just started laughing. He was like, that's true. He's like, we don't. He's like, it's a suggestion. He's like, you don't have to stay in your lane. And he's like, if you're on the road, that's your road, like kind of thing. And that's really, that's their rule is if you're in the space, that's your space.
Yeah.
And that goes not with just the roads. It goes with walking on sidewalks. I was constantly just scared we were going to get hit by a car. Okay.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's all these little like alleys and tiny streets that you think are just for walking and then a car will come through.
Gosh, it just, like, flies
and people will literally just barely be scooching out of the way. And when I say scooch, they scooch like an inch and then the car took up 3/4 of an inch and just and little Vespas and little motorcycles just zipping around. And Andrew would just laugh at me because I was constantly like, we're going to die. This is the part where we get run over in Italy.
Oh my God.
So
I would die if you guys messaged us being like, well, we're in the emergency room in
I
Italy.
know. I was like, I don't want to get hurt in a foreign country. This sounds really bad.
Oh yeah, no.
So.
No. Did you meet some good, like, cool people?
We did meet some cool people. What's funny is the favorite people that we met were people on like excursions that were not from Italy.
Like other
that
like
were
Canadian.
We met some people from Belgium that were really nice that we did a pasta class with. My favorite was we did a wine tour to this winery that was gorgeous, that was at the bottom of Mount Etna, which is the active volcano that erupted twice while we were there.
That is so cool.
So cool. But we did this wine tour and they picked us up in Taormina, but it was like a 40-minute drive to get to the winery. So we were in this van.
Can you drink while you're driving?
They didn't offer that,
that's what
but
I
I
was wondering.
think we probably could have. I
Just
don't think
curious,
they would
'cause,
have
like, the
frowned
tours,
upon
yeah.
that. Yeah. But it was these 4 ladies that were, most of them were from Canada, but 2 of them lived in the U.S. that were traveling together, and then 2 of them lived in Canada that were traveling. But so it was Andrew and 5 ladies on the Wive tour, which he was living his best life on that one. And they were all I'd say they were all probably in their mid to late 60s.
Oh, fun.
And they were the coolest. One of them was like a geologist. So she told us all this interesting stuff about the different lava and the stones and what we were seeing. So we kind of got a second tour guide in her. And then the girl she was traveling with was in the mining industry. So she worked with private mining companies. The other 2 ladies, one of them was an artist she was so sassy, so fire. Her and the friend she was traveling with. We were like, oh, how did you guys meet? She's like, I was at this neighborhood party and her friend was there, the other friend that was there. So the sassy one is like, yeah, she was telling me she was about to go see this concert for so-and-so, that somebody gave her tickets for her and her husband, Bob. And she was like, well, she had just met this lady. And she's like, well, that's too bad because I'm going to go with you to that concert now instead of Bob. So tell him I said sorry. And we just laughed and we're like, no, but did you really go to the concert? She's like, yeah. And
Bye, Bob.
she's like, and ever since then, we've been great friends. And I was like, oh, how did Bob feel about this? She's like, he really wasn't that mad about it. Like, he was a good sport.
I'm sure he didn't even care about the concert and was like, please go in my place.
But yeah, she was just like the life of the party. She was funny and sweet. And then the other lady, she like worked for the Disney Channel she was like a TV programmer.
Oh my gosh.
She helped start Direct TV. She helped launch like satellite television for other countries and stuff. She was married to an actor from a soap opera. Like, it was so, they all had such different stories, but such interesting lives. And they were so kind and so just like calm and generous. And we had conversations about kids and marriages. And one of them asked Andrew a really personal question about the military or something. And he got kind of misty-eyed when he was answering it. So it was kind of like a emotional question. And afterwards she pulls me aside and she's like, oh my gosh, I hope I didn't overstep by asking that. And I was like, I'm going to be honest. I was like, Andrew loves an uncomfortable question more than anybody that I know. I'm like, so honestly, like, you're kind of making his day. And she was like, well, I noticed he got a little emotional. I was like, yeah, those are the questions he really wants to answer. I was like, that's what really matters to him, to be honest. He likes the deep stuff. So yeah, you're making his day. And she was like,
keep him coming.
Oh, good. I just got worried after that. I didn't want to overstep. I was like, no, keep overstepping. This is fabulous. But they were my favorite. And
Aww.
Bob,
poor Bob.
Bob is a winner because those two ladies told us about somewhere else they had previously been. They were on like a full-on all over Europe kind of trip. And they had gone to a place and they had to haul their like 40-pound luggage up like 4 flights of stairs. And it was just like this whole exhausting thing they were telling us about. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. And then they're like, yeah, I told Bob about it. And then a few hours later, I get this message and she shows us this certificate. And it's a joke certificate that he made about them climbing the stairs. And it was so exaggerated.
I love Bob.
And he was hilarious. I started reading through it and I was cracking up. And the table's like, they're like, we feel like you should just read this out loud to us. And I was like, gladly. So I read the thing and they were cracking up. The wording, he made up words like, for the valiant climbery of Susan and Judy. Like, it was so.
Clearly he has a lot of time on his hands.
He does. Bob is definitely retired.
With those two gone and busy.
Oh my gosh.
He's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
What do I do with myself?
But yeah, Bob's a winner and those ladies were my
Fantastic.
favorite. Mm-hmm.
So they did the winery tour with you?
Yes.
Like the whole time, and then you guys drove back together?
Yeah, so the winery tour, they took us to the winery, they took us outside, and then we sat at a table. They brought us all the wines, some of the best cheese, like boar sausage, ricotta, bread, olive oil. All of it is like local to
That's awesome.
their winery. It was amazing.
I'm sure it was just delicious.
And then they took us to a farmhouse that fed us more food, like actual lunch, and we drank more wine. So we literally sat with these ladies at tables for 4 or 5 hours.
Oh my gosh, what a beautiful day.
Oh, I would have done that every day for the rest of the trip. Sign me up
You're
for
like,
that. Every wine tour I can book, we're booking it because it was really fun.
I'm staying in Italy with my 4 Canadian friends, and we're going to be wine touring for the rest of our life.
For real. For real.
Well, that makes me so happy for you guys.
Yeah.
What was the point when you were like, okay, we're ready to get back home?
I'd say it was probably 4 days before we.
Oh, really?
Before we left. I think.
What was it? Like, what was
I think the mattress was really wearing on us because that
was
Airbnb.
it rock hard?
It was, yes. It was about 4 inches thick.
Oh.
Hard, and you could feel the springs in it. I actually took up as many blankets as we could find, extra ones, and folded them as many times as possible and stacked them up on top of the mattress to give a little bit of cushion. But it was rough going on the mattress site. The Airbnb there was beautiful, gorgeous view, like we spent so much time in the Airbnb. We usually don't. Like, we're usually just like, let's go when we go places. But that place was so beautiful, and it was calm. It overlooked a garden, and you could see Mount Etna, and you could see the ocean. It was so gorgeous. So we would open these huge sliding glass doors that led out to the balcony, and we would just sit. And we sat there for hours and played this Italian card game we learned called Scopa. These cute little deck of playing cards that I bought from these nice ladies downstairs at this cute little shop. So yeah, but it was probably 4 days out that I was like, "Ooh, man, this is a long time."
Did you miss your kids?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the kids, I was like, oh, I kept texting them, and they didn't seem to care at first. And then towards the end, I felt like they cared a little more. And then when it got close to the end, I was like, I'm really actually excited to see them. It's like a part of you that you're so used to having around that when it's gone, you're like, oh man, I really like them. Even though they're teenagers and there's a lot of times not a lot of interaction happening, it's still just something about them like being around and taking care of them that's nice. It's a part of your purpose that you feel is like a little missed.
Yeah, like it was lost while you were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Because 2 weeks is a long time.
Yeah.
2 weeks is...
That's the longest
been away from them?
trip we've ever been.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What did they say when you guys got home? They were like, oh my God, we needed you? Or like...
No, they were just like, oh, we're really glad you're back. I think they were excited to eat some real food. There's something about moms and parents and like full family groups that make things feel right and safe and okay. So they were excited, I think, for us to be back. And we're just like hanging out, being close to us, giving us hugs and telling us they missed us and stuff like that. It was
teenagers.
It was sweet. It was sweet.
That is so sweet. Yeah. Well, are you so happy to be back in America?
I'm so happy.
What did you miss anything? Obviously your kids, but did you miss anything?
My bed.
Yeah. I feel like beds are number one. Like whenever we go on vacation or something, or I'm just like, I cannot wait to sleep back in our own bed.
And my pillow too.
Oh yeah.
I have a very supportive neck supporting pillow that I don't realize I love that much. But after sleeping on these flat, hard mattresses with flat little sad pillows, I was like, I definitely like that. But it was beautiful and it was a really fun experience.
Yeah, that's special.
And it was really good just for us, like just to be able to just spend that much time together and just focus on each other and have good conversations and all of that. So, yeah.
Good for you guys. That makes me so happy for you. Oh. Okay, so since you've been back, what have you been cooking?
Last night I made this like chicken green chili soup.
Oh, we've talked about the chili soup before, but that you'll give me. That sounds so good.
I did it real simple. Chicken, cream of chicken soup, green chili enchilada sauce, some green chili pepper flakes that I have, and then I just sit on the crock pot all day. And then at the end of the day, I put in corn, black beans.
Oh, yum.
A healthy scoop of queso.
So this is a creamy one.
To cheese it up a little bit. And then I fried up some flour tortillas into little crispy flour tortilla chips.
Yum.
To kind of have a little bit of crunch with the stuff. It was very
that sounds
good.
So good.
Yeah. I packed it for my lunch today.
Get it, girl. Oh my God, that sounds so good. I actually have a can of that green verde, whatever.
Yeah.
Sauce. I'm going to try and make something now with that because that sounds so good.
Yeah. It's handy. It's handy for soups because I feel like it gives you kind of a different flavor that you wouldn't get.
Yeah.
It's different than it, and I feel like it's a lot less work than enchiladas.
Oh, 1,000%, which is so funny you said that because my brother just messaged our family group message yesterday saying, mind you, this was like in between all of us messaging back and forth about Maverick's birthday. He says nothing about his birthday party. All he says is, those cheese enchiladas in the fridge are absolutely dynamite.
I love it.
Literally in the middle of, my mom's like, how close are you to the pool? So
this
I sent her a
guy's
photo.
my friend.
Yeah. And then my dad's like, wait, we're not doing Tombstone theme anymore? Like literally the enchiladas are in between all of that. It's so funny. My mom does make killer enchiladas, but yeah, I'm sure it was some chicken green enchiladas with like black olives on top or something like that. But cracks me up.
So good. I love it. What have you been cooking?
Well, you saw me chowing down on my breakfast, which was my dinner also last night.
Oh,
but
nice.
it worked both ways because it was like a tofu scramble with like brown rice, black beans, red bell peppers, like the avocado salsa, you know, like that green avocado salsa that's spicy.
So
gosh, it's so good.
It's really good.
That with some garlic powder, onion powder, some salsa. It was just like this like little Mexican flair thing, and I just put it in a tortilla with some avocado and cilantro and garlic jalapeno hot sauce, and it's oh my God, it was so good.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I've been eating that for the last 2 days.
I love it. I know. I made my kids a bunch of breakfast burritos this week.
Yeah, smart. Do you freeze them?
I have before, but I just made 8. I'm like, they can eat 8 burritos in a week. It'll be pretty fast. But it was funny because I made them at the same time I made dinner. So I made the burritos to go in the fridge for the week. And then I had made dinner. And so I sit down and I tell everybody it's ready to eat. And then I see Andrew like really sitting like turned on the couch. And I was like, what is he doing? And I was like, are you eating a burrito? And he was like, I really love breakfast burritos.
That's Ryan.
So he had one before his dinner. I
love it.
I was like, those are for breakfast.
And you're like, now there's 7.
Yeah. And then I told my 15-year-old, I told him, I said, hey, there's breakfast burritos in the fridge in the morning if you want a burrito. And he was like, okay. Well, then he didn't take one in the morning. And then that evening when he got home from school, I see him grab a burrito. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, you said these were for breakfast. I was like, it's not breakfast. He's like, but you said breakfast is the most important meal of the day. I was like, at breakfast time it is. I was like, it doesn't count. It's not like, oh, make sure you eat breakfast at some point in the day, even if it's at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He's like, but you said we could have one and it's really good. And I was like, fine, eat the burrito. So I don't think any of them are getting eaten at breakfast time, but they're there at some point for
snack burritos
sustenance. Now. And they're full of eggs and cheese and green chilies. So
I bet you they're delish.
Oh, they're very good.
Well, geez, yeah, I'd be eating them all day long. Oh my gosh, if I made something like that, like prepped for him, Ryan would literally eat it. Breakfast snack, lunch snack, dinner, before bed snack, and they'd be gone.
They are really nice, and they heat up really good. I stuff them in those little snack bags, so they're like sealed.
They're tight.
They're tight, sealed in there, and then you just throw them in the microwave for a minute, and they're
perfect.
They're done. I've had one or two.
You're like, okay, I did.
At breakfast.
You're like making a scene in the kitchen, like, I'm having my breakfast
No,
burrito.
I can't make a scene because nobody else is awake when I'm eating breakfast. I'm just throwing it in the microwave on my own.
You should be taking a video and then sending it out.
This is when we eat breakfast burritos in the breakfast time. So silly.
That's funny. I feel like your kids would laugh if you like made a silly TikTok or did something like that. Like to like show them this is how you eat your breakfast burritos.
Let's talk about when breakfast hours are. The appropriate way to eat a breakfast burrito.
I saw somebody post something like, I'm not against having dinner for breakfast. And I was like, yeah, I'm not either. Like bring on the leftover pasta, the Thai food, the soups, anything. I'll eat it all for breakfast. Yeah. I love a good breakfast for dinner.
Yeah.
But vice versa is the same.
Oh, totally.
So good.
I do love an enchilada for breakfast. So. Let your brother know. Give it a try.
I'm sure that's when he ate it.
Well, your eyelashes look phenomenal, by the way.
Oh, thank you. They're going on. What are we doing? What's today? Oh, it's actually, I think, almost a week, and they're only supposed to last a week.
So I walked in and I was like, oh, Kendall looks so glamorous this morning. What's going on? And I was like, oh, she has lashes.
I had these are press-on, but.
And nail, I know, they look cute.
I'm like, I had press-ons, I did my lashes. Well, it was Ryan's birthday, so I was trying to look hot.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to look hot for you. And he's like, okay.
He's probably like, I don't care about your eyelashes.
He could care less about any of this stuff because he's like, please don't put makeup on. And I'm like, no. I literally have tinted cream for your face that's like barely tinted, and then a bronzer, and that's literally all I have, and a mascara.
That's amazing.
That's it. And I'm like, oh, maybe the bronzer can be an eyeshadow. I'm that kind of person.
You're that girl.
So then my whole face is all the same bronze color.
That's so good.
Thanks for listening.
I know.
I'm so glad you're back.
I'm glad to be back.
We missed you guys.
We missed you guys too. It's really good. We need to come hang out.
I know, for real.
So
we'll have a pool day.
I love it. Okay.
Yeah. Well, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
And that, party people, wraps up another delightful episode of Parties to Playdates.
We hope you're leaving with a smile, a story, and maybe a tip or two.
Remember, life's journey is better shared with a friend.
And we're so grateful to be part of yours.
If you enjoyed today's chat, don't forget to rate and subscribe to our show.
Your support keeps our community growing and our stories flowing. We want to hear from you. Please send us your thoughts, ideas, and questions to partiestoplaydates@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Parties to Playdates.
Until next time, keep embracing the chaos and finding the joy.
Take care and stay connected, party people.
Bye for now, and don't forget to laugh a little extra today.
Bye.